Let me start off this video by saying that I love the Halloween film series. In fact, I even regard the original 1978 John Carpenter film as one of my personal all-time favorites. However, let's be honest here, the Halloween film series has had a few entries in it that has left its fans with a bad taste in their mouth. The movies featured in this countdown failed to capture what made the first film so legendary, and I'll try to explain my take on it briefly. You see, Michael Myers is a killer who is shrouded in mystery. You aren't supposed to understand his motives. There's no reasoning with him, and he never utters a single word. The iconic mask he dons represents that perfectly. And I know some of you might say, "Well, Uncle Unit, at least they tried something different." And my response to that is,
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
yes, I'm going to be that guy. I like my Michael Myers without some stupid tattoo on his wrist, or whatever the hell this was.
I'm not listening!
Get that nonsense out of here. It's like if your favorite metal band suddenly turned into some radio-friendly pop group. The original film is held in such high regard that expectations are always going to be pretty high when it comes to new entries into this franchise. Halloween 2018 wasn't a perfect movie, but at the very least, it understood what made the first film so great. Before we go any further, I have to mention that this countdown is for people who've watched the Halloween films and are familiar with them. I'm not really going to delve too much into the plot of these movies, and there will be some spoilers. So I recommend that you watch all the Halloween movies before watching this countdown. Without any further delay, we're going to be taking a look at 5 of the worst Halloween films. Number 5. Rob Zombie's Halloween. We start off this list with Rob Zombie's ambitious remake of the original Halloween. The first half of this movie explores the backstory of young Michael and shows you how he became the masked murderer we all know and love. Now, I get that you have to give some leeway to remakes, especially when they're following in the footsteps of a timeless classic like John Carpenter's Halloween, but I don't think this film is even that good on its own merits. The film is polluted with unlikable characters that you really don't give a shit about.
Bitch, I will crawl over there and I will skull fuck the shit out of you!
Oh, I'll get the crutches for you.
Sorry about these chains, Mikey.
What do you mean you're sorry about these chains? You got feelings for this big idiot? Is that what it is? What's the dick going on, Ishmael? What the fuck, man?
The second half of this film is just a really dull, less captivating rehash of the original film, which is a pretty shitty payoff when I had to sit through this. Overall, I feel that Rob Zombie's Halloween is an okay horror movie, but a bad Halloween film. That's the best way I can put it. Say what you will about Rob Zombie, but he at least knows what he's doing behind the camera. His movies are usually hit or miss, but I think every film in his catalog is at least respectable. I can't honestly say that his take on Halloween is complete garbage, but it leaves a lot to be desired, and it will forever exist in the shadow of its predecessor. Number 4. Halloween 2. Rob, what the fuck were you thinking? I mean, what is this film? It's like someone overdosed on acid after watching the 2007 remake.
Get out the jazz, motherfucker!
No!
This film is such a mess. A very disappointing follow-up to a mundane but at least entertaining remake. What I said about Rob Zombie films earlier still applies here, but this one is definitely a miss. The White Horse, Michael Hobo Myers, Dr. Hardcore Sellout Loomis. I really don't even know what to make of this movie, to be honest. There is so much wasted potential here. For example, Danielle Harris's character. She survived the first film only to be killed off in this movie in almost the same way she was attacked in the first film. That's just a bit repetitive and a little stupid. I feel that Rob Zombie made a severe mistake not casting Danielle Harris as Laurie Strode in both of these films, especially when you consider her experience with the Halloween franchise. The whole supernatural hallucination thing going on with Michael Myers throughout the film is really contrived. A part of me thinks that this was just concocted to bring back Sherry Moon Zombie. Because all this white horse, dead mommy bullshit was completely absent in the 2007 remake. And this brings me to my final point about both the Rob Zombie films. I think I would have enjoyed these movies a lot more if they weren't Halloween movies. I feel being handcuffed to an already established franchise can have mixed results. Rob Zombie is a really competent, ambitious filmmaker. There was a lot of interesting ideas presented in these pictures. They both are very watchable, well-made horror movies, but sometimes a different spin isn't always the right way to go, and Rob Zombie does better when he's working with his own material. Number 3. Halloween 5. The Revenge of Michael Myers. This is such a painful film to talk about. Halloween 4 is probably my second favorite film out of the entire series, and this film just takes a giant, hot, steaming dump on it. This is the film that introduced The Curse of Thorn, so now we finally know what drives the soulless serial killer Michael Myers. A star alignment. Let me say that again. A star alignment.
No! No! No!
So when you have a rushed production and you start filming even before a script is completed, well, it shows. The whole psychic connection thing between Jamie and Michael is just dumb. Did the producers of this movie watch Friday the 13th, Part 7 and were like, yep, let's throw that in there? And what the fuck is going on with Michael's mask in this movie? It's just horrible to look at. And also something else that really made this movie a chore to sit through can be summed up in one word.
Tina!
It looks so good.
There's just very poorly thought out things throughout this film that just bother me. Like for instance, after Michael escaped the mineshaft explosion from Part 4, he's rescued by an old hermit and stays at his place for an entire year. And when he wakes up, he's still in the same coveralls. So how did this old man feed him? And even Michael Myers has to take a shit at some point. So, where's the bedpan? I really need this question answered. Where is the bedpan? You mean to tell me an entire year passed, and this old guy didn't once think to call up the police to inform them that some shot-up man wearing bloody coveralls and a mask just showed up out of the blue at his shack? I know I'm nitpicking, but this is just too strange to ignore. Also, someone please explain to me why Michael picked up Tina and drove her to a gas station to get cigarettes. You know something, after typing that out and reading it out loud, I realized just how bafflingly stupid this scene is. Michael Myers, one of the most infamous horror movie villains of all time, gave someone a ride to a gas station to grab cigarettes. H5 is where the series began to spin its wheels in the mud. There are still some pretty well executed scenes and even some suspenseful moments, but it's a far cry from John Carpenter's original film. Number 2. Halloween. The Curse of Michael Myers.
Hello?
Hey, listen. Before you write the Halloween 6 script, we have one small request.
Okay, what is it?
You know the character of Jamie Lloyd?
Yeah, that's Michael Myers' niece, right?
Yeah. Well, we want the film to open up with her having a baby. And follow me on this, we want Michael Myers to be the daddy.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking hot. People are gonna love it.
So you want Jamie Lloyd to have an incest baby with her own uncle? Do you think that's really a good idea to put in a Halloween movie?
Listen, asshole. You want your paycheck or not?
Well, of course I do, but...
We want Jamie Lloyd to have a baby, and we want Michael Myers to be the father. Write the damn script, or we will find somebody who will. Do you understand?
Hey, yes, Mr. Producer, sir. I'll make sure Michael bangs Jamie.
Good, and if we don't like what you come up with, we're just gonna reshoot the whole damn movie. I don't think it's a good idea. Freaking amateur. It's never a good sign when two entirely different cuts of the same movie exist. It's a clear indication that there was some major studio interference with the production. But regardless of which cut you watch, the Curse of Thorn will play a prominent role in the movie's plot. Welp, at least they did a good job on Michael Myers' mask this time around. So the problem that I have with this film is that it expanded on the bad ideas presented in Halloween 5. And also, someone should have hid the mushrooms from Paul Rudd before filming began.
My name's Tommy. I was only 8 years old when I saw him.
I also didn't really appreciate how they disposed of Jamie Lloyd's character. This is a character that we've been following since Halloween 4, and you unceremoniously kill her off by impaling her on some farm equipment? I wouldn't have a problem with Jamie dying in this movie, but I think the character deserved to be more involved with the story, and given a more dignified death. I will say that this character's death was handled a little bit better in the producer's cut, but it was still kind of a shitty end for the character. And I cannot explain to you how ridiculous I think it is that Michael Myers is standing next to a bunch of cult members partaking in some stupid blood sacrifice ritual. Things have gotten so way off base by this point. What happens after the bloodline is severed? Is Michael Myers going to be reduced to fetching cult members drinks after all this is over? And sadly, this film would be the last Halloween film that Donald Pleasence would ever be a part of. After a bad screen testing of the film's original cut, the studio rushed the film back into production to undergo some major reshoots in the summer of 1995. Because of Donald Pleasence's death on February 2nd of 1995, he was unable to be a part of these reshoots. And to make a long story short, the end of Dr. Samuel Loomis, a character who's been with this franchise since the very first film, was reduced to this. What the hell? For all the shit that people talk about Halloween 3, at least John Carpenter was smart enough not to involve the story of Michael Myers. How do we go from a relatable story about a babysitter being stalked by an unknown masked killer to a brainwashed cult enforcer, star alignment, blood sacrifice shit show? This is Halloween, not Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Number 1. Halloween Resurrection. This is what you get when you mix Halloween with a really bad episode of Ghost Adventures, throw in some Busta Rhymes, then toss it into a dumpster fire. I want this film wiped from existence. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would have rather seen a continuation of The Curse of Thorn. So if you've watched my countdown videos before, you should know that I usually judge sequel films on how well they line up with the film that preceded them. And if H5 took a dump on H4, this film gutted Halloween H2O and left it to die in a ditch. Who on earth thought live streaming a bunch of morons walking through an empty house with cameras on their heads would be a good idea for a Halloween movie? It's a really shitty feature-length 3 a.m. challenge video. Just an insulting shit show from front to back. And you know something that about sums up my thoughts on this movie. Well, that about wraps up this countdown. Special thanks to my friend SelestialNorre for appearing in that little video skit. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. So do you agree with my picks? Do you enjoy any of these Halloween films? Leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. And on that note, I hope you guys have a very happy Halloween and stay safe out there. And remember, if you see a motionless masked man staring at you off in the distance, he probably wants to kill you.